everyone, me should be barking here. Apologies for interrupting the theme of throwback vids this month, but holy hell this needs to be talked about. If you're watching this video as it comes out, you already know what's going on, but for those of you in the future, hi! You're in for a treat. On September 1st, 2021, a Twitter page that was only made a little over a year ago tweeted the following: America's Anthro Convention. Retweets appreciated. Free-for-all at the Marriott Southern Hills takes place in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Memorial Day weekend, May 27th through the 29th. Pre-reg is now open. Honored guest, 2 Gryphon. Learn more at this site. Videos on this site. So, this on its own from the outside looking in may not seem all that bad. A brand new convention sounds like a normal thing. The issues arise when we start to evaluate who's involved, the type of people talking about the con in the chats that'll likely attend, and many other discrepancies involved in the con. Today I want to talk about the Awoo Association, their guest of honor, the Furry Raiders being involved, and ultimately the con's fall and likely cancellation. So without further ado, sit back, get comfy, and let's dive into the rise and fall of free-for-all. Before we begin talking about the con itself, let's go over some of the important orgs and people involved, and we'll start with the Awoo Association. Awoo, 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 Awoo. How many times am I gonna have to say Awoo? Awoo, or Anthro West Open Organization, is a group based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and is apparently a federally recognized 501c3 public charity organization. Weird flex, but okay. Though we are largely made up of those who are particular to the furry fandom, our roots stem from our common desire to build a community celebrating anthro arts and culture, while also hosting charitable events. We believe the furry fandom is supposed to be one of the most loving and accepting communities in the world, and we plan to lead by example. That sentence about them striving for love and acceptance, remember that. They also go on to mention that they support no religious or political causes, and are hoping to create a community that is welcoming to all. Sounds like a plan. The issue is, however, that you can write anything on the internet, and that doesn't make it true, as we'll see later on. Before free-for-all, they say they're a community that hosts gatherings and helps with charities, but considering they started fairly recently, at least I think they did, I can't find a starting date anywhere on their website, but their Twitter account was created in June of 2020, so I guess it was around then. Anyways, considering they started during peak COVID times, I can't imagine they've had very many in-person meetups. They do, however, host game nights, movie nights, and other such things online, weekly or monthly, so that's pretty neat. It's also rumored that they're trying to copyright the term Awoo, but I don't know how entirely true that is, and it's not really relevant, but it'd be kinda hilarious though. But that's not why you're here. You want to talk about the con, baby. Free-for-all, America, racist. Hold your horses there, Chief. We got a couple more things to discuss. Though if you do want to skip ahead, I included timestamps in the description. Anyways, let's talk about a supposed group founder, one that I'm sure you've heard of, PeaceWolf. PeaceWolf is a fursuit maker, suitor, YouTuber, apparently, Twitch streamer, and gamer who resides in Oklahoma. She was formerly a founder and chairman of Tails and Tornadoes FurCon in 2019, though the group has parted ways with her since. She's also credited in assisting in the creation of the Awoo Association in my sources, so it seems she does have direct involvement with the org. It's weird how secretive this group and the con itself are about who's in charge, who's involved, and who's pulling the strings, as their website says nothing on the matter. It's almost like they're hiding something. Anyway, Peace's controversy started really ramping up in 2020, with multiple people coming out to say that Peace had said racial slurs to them. Now, this could easily be faked, so unfortunately grain of salt on that one. But what is a bit more concrete is her involvement with some troublesome people and groups. I'll get back to this, but also worth mentioning was the whole thing with trying to debate whether or not black people have it harder in the US, then proceeding to ignore any and all debate or counter-arguments sent her way. Look, questions are important to ask, but if you're asking a question, you need to be open to an answer, and she definitely wasn't. Back to the questionable people, Peace has been seen in multiple group chats being buddy-buddy with some awful people, one of which is Connie Lupine. I don't know how to say it. Connie is very prominently racist, homophobic, and transphobic, and doesn't really hide that fact from anyone. Here's Peace being friendly with him. He also pulls the, what if the child consents though, argument when grooming and such is brought up, which, fucking yikes. Also worth mentioning is her ties to the group known as the Furry Raiders, as she has conversed with multiple members and even appeared in a video of theirs. Speaking of which, let's talk about the Furry Raiders. So unfortunately I can't go into much detail about this part due to the group being too pussy to deal with criticism and copyright striking anyone who dares speak against them, so I'm gonna leave some links in the description and maybe a pinned comment that describes them in much more detail than I ever could wish to. There's also gonna be no visuals because, yeah, once again, pussies. Long story short, they're a group of 200 whom consist of the most vile and hateful people in the community, and are commonly trying to recruit new members under the guise of keeping the fandom politics free, which unfortunately is effective. Little do the members know they're shoehorned into a group of hateful people and fed some awful ideologies and, ironically, politics. But yeah, they're associated with PeaceWolf and by extension this convention, so if you'd like to read up on them, then feel absolutely free to do so using the links in the description. It's also rumored some members are involved with founding the con, but I couldn't find any reliable sources on that. Also, their leader and founder has straight up replied to multiple people on public Twitter with with no warning or buildup in spaces that aren't in SFWs, so the fact that people can even fathom supporting this absolute creep is way beyond me. This thread by fellow YouTuber Coyote Lovely also details some of the wonderful things said by their lovely leader. Anyways, enough about PeaceWolf, enough about Awoo, enough about the Raiders. Let's discuss the convention itself, yeah? September 1st. 2020. A post goes live on twitter.com discussing a new convention to take place in Tulsa, Oklahoma from May 27th to the 29th. Free for all, back to our roots, baby! Now I can't show any of it for fear of copyright, but the announcement video lists a bunch of words associated with the con, and the fact that one of the words is based should kinda tell you that this is gonna be a shit show. Almost instantly, I'm talking frame one, people started quote tweeting the original post because you see their replies were turned off. Probably for fear of backlash because the con's got a lot of skeletons in its closet. Anyway, the quote tweets were quick to ridicule the con, with the original post gaining quote tweets by the second. It was quickly revealed who was involved with the con, as well as Awoo, and to say that this information becoming public was a bad thing was an understatement. Any type of convention or organization that had ties to the Furry Raiders is bound to have negative backlash, rightfully so. Anyways, taking a peek at the con's page, which has been no help during the making of this video, seriously, there's little to no information on anything. Almost like they're hiding. They claim to be an anthro convention rather than a furry one, but I mean, it's a furry con at the end of the day, they're just splitting hairs. Another thing that is kind of odd was the fact that the con is 18 plus, but also doesn't allow what they deem fetish gear. This is such a loose statement that anything you wear could be labeled fetish gear. Are pup hoods okay? What about collars? Harnesses? People banging the suits anyways, are those not allowed in con space either? On one hand, I get the motivation to avoid another rainforest, but the striking irony is they're strongly being compared to rainforest in the process. Cons have a general code of conduct and guides as well, and not to mention the hotel's rules they have to follow anyway. But I mean, on the surface and all things considered, it's just a con at this stage. Granted, the premise and theme are kinda cringe. Nationalism is big weird, and to celebrate that at a con's kind of odd, but meh, not the biggest deal. Some have said that they tried to go for a police badge shape, but to be honest, I think they were going for like a root sign, much like their con's theme. But past that, it also gets much worse once we start looking at a few more characters involved in this circus. Their guest of honor for this convention is someone by the name of Gryphon, who I guess gets in front of a mic and yells at things he hates? Admittedly, I didn't know much about him, as his controversy took place mainly in 2016, and I didn't join the furry community until around 2 to 3 laters, but after doing some research, he's not a great individual to say the least. First off, and right off the bat, Furry Raider involvement, so that's already a huge red flag. A bit of hilarious controversy recently has been him trying to deny things that very obviously happened, and have plenty of screenshots and him loosely admitting to it. In 2018, he was in the Furry Raiders chat and said that he would promote alt-furry, and people immediately blew this up, causing him to go on the defensive and defend what he said. 3 years later, and he's still denying that even happened, saying the screenshots of the chat are faked. Come on, dude. My favorite part of their entire bio is this part, where they talk about Tu himself. Unfortunately, in 2016, his excursion in comedy was considered cancelled after being accused of being a homophobic, transphobic, misogynist, racist Nazi for the usual sin of publicly declaring a belief and passion for the concept of free speech. It's almost like a requirement for being associated with this con is to be a shitty person and thus be cancelled over it. Here he is defending the Raiders founder, by the way, which is just yeesh. Now it seems it wasn't always this way. Tu seemed to have been a genuinely funny guy in the past. He did stand-up comedy at cons, by the way, but his shows and videos kept getting more edgy and unfunny as time went on. Here he is saying that people who want to commit suicide because of bullying should commit, and that they deserve to be dead. What a lovely person. Here he is creating a fake persona that we all know one of, then telling them to kill themselves. Outstanding. This one's way all the way back in 2004, by the way, so Tu's been in the community for a while. Now this one is trying to be a joke, but like, I thought jokes were meant to be funny. Dark humor can be funny in my opinion, but there's a special way in an art to do it. Have it come across as funny and not make an absolute ass out of yourself. This post did none of these things well. Anyways, I'm out of things to say about this post. I tried to talk for as long as possible without disrupting the flow of the video too much, so if you need to pause and read it, feel free. Here's Tu downplaying assault to an alarming degree, akin it to being no worse than unpleasantries experienced at work or school. So yeah, Tu's kind of a shitty person. There's much more we could discuss involving him, but I've dragged this part on long enough. Check the sources in the description if you're curious though. So the charity. Every con has or at least tries to have a charity involved, and Free For All is no different. So who did they choose? They decided to go with a group called Safari's Sanctuary, a non-profit exotic wildlife rescue organization. Now this is where it gets bad. The org has an entire Facebook group sharing some of the awful things that Safari has done. They've also been accused of animal abuse, for example having all concrete floors in the cat pens. They apparently lost their right to be open to the public due to a number of violations concerning animal welfare, but Safari is claiming that they gave up the license voluntarily due to the founder retiring. The big thing is they have ties to Joe Exotic. Yes, that Joe Exotic, and any org with ties like that can't be good. Also, PeaceWolf has apparently volunteered there multiple times, so yeah. But the charity isn't even the worst thing about this con. No, that all falls in the chat logs. The following contains some pretty blatant racism, homophobia, and transphobia, so proceed with caution. It should also be mentioned that the main chat we're talking about is an unofficial free-for-all chat, meaning the org has no affiliation with the chat in question. PeaceWolf also went on to say that there is no official chat, and I personally haven't seen one, so take that how you will. That being said, they said nothing about or against this unofficial chat, and could have easily spoken against the things said in these chats, but they opted for silence instead, and it was deafening. The main chat we'll be discussing was run by Connie Lupine, who, yeah, we've already discussed Canny a bit earlier, but this guy is notoriously and I don't know how or why people would want to associate with him, just... He's also in the comments section of Rage Hound's video covering the announcement of the convention. Check it out if you want a video that talks about everything involving the announcement and reading the website itself. I don't know why furries are so dramatic with posts like these. Like, my guy, it's just mutual respect for saying someone's pronouns. Get over it. Oh, for fuck's sake. Why is there such a correlation with Nazi furs and diapers? It's wild how many of them have this fetish. Just why? Nothing against diapers or anything, but it keeps coming up in videos like this. Anyways, sorry for that tangent. That's surprisingly not even the worst individual in these chat logs, however, as there's someone named Clyde Cash, who's been DMing people who spoke out against this con, especially trans people. You may recognize the name as one of Chris Chan's notorious trolls. Now it goes without saying that this isn't the same person, but definitely in poor taste to name yourself after that. I'm gonna put these things on the screen. Sometimes I'll read some screenshots, but no sir, I won't even go near saying shit like this. As soon as I finished the script, I found a screenshot saying Connie clicked Clyde from the chat for what he's been saying and for claiming the chat is an official one, so that's good, I guess. A bit of DLC for the coffee boys who pledged for the script. So once again, unofficial chat, but these are the type of people that a quote-unquote apolitical con attracts. I've done a video about this topic before, but politics will always be a part of the furry community, due to many members of the community being part of at least one minority group, and thus being directly affected by politics. At any point, Free For All could have spoken about the chats, and said they were unofficial in a statement, as well as denounced the awful things they said in the chats, but instead they stayed quiet. So the following weeks have been quite full, but I'll try and sum it up. The con has gained a ton of attention and has been spread far and wide across the furry community. This has caused many rumors and allegations, some true and some false, and has caused an absolute shitstorm all over Twitter. I feel like shitstorm and Twitter are synonyms at this point. Twitter has this bad habit of spreading a bunch of information without sources or evidence, so before you go believing anything, it's best to double check on these things. That's why I try and spend time on research and finding sources, and for videos such as this, I'll include those sources in the description. For the most part, the following weeks were kind of boring. It was kind of just two sides yelling at each other over allegations and fallacies. That is, until Awoo Association released a tweet. If you need to contact us for anything else, or find info about how you can help, please do so on our website. #uncancelable. Free For All is proud to provide an event from all walks of life. It's disappointing how many humans today cannot tolerate different people, especially when they want to have a big fluffy event together. The dark side of the anthro fandom is showing its face, and some have even gone so far as to target and harass members of our association and our business partners. After enduring this for some time, our hotel has asked us to relocate for fear of civil unrest threatened by those who want to see the event be cancelled. Our venue was not prepared to deal with this harassment, but the Awoo Association is. Changing venues isn't a big deal, and we weren't the first convention to have to do it. We are not deterred, and we will be holding America's Anthro Convention regardless of any obstacles anyone throws our way. We hope you will join us in making it happen. We are so thankful for the overwhelming support we have received from everywhere in the world, except Twitter. And we can't wait to see all the best of America at America's Anthro Convention. Free For All 2022. Please keep being kind to everyone and being a bright light in our world. We will announce our new location very soon. We want all our supporters to know we have your backs. Free For All and its staff aren't going anywhere. Free For All is proudly #uncancelable. And it's not signed because we're not allowed to know anyone who's associated with this con. It's almost like they're trying to hide. So, yeah, as it stands, the con doesn't have a hotel space. They're currently looking, but the unfortunate truth is hotels talk. As internet historians stated, Rainforest was unable to find a new con space due to the hotels talking and discussing the events that happened and the people associated with the con, as well as emails from various other people stating and addressing the type of people striking up contracts with them. I do want to address the rumor that a bomb threat is what caused the con's cancellation, but I just see this being parroted around by right-wingers with no substance behind it. Sure, some people made jokes about it, but I don't think anyone called in a bomb threat because that is a serious crime. If that did happen, however, and I just missed it, I 100% do not support that. Don't do that, guys, come on. It's ironic because this keeps being said by people who in the same statement are asking for evidence for other rumors, almost like they're projecting, eh? Also, the #uncancelable thing is funny to me. The Titanic was sinkable, and now we have a bunch of movies about that disaster. All you guys got was a video from a dog who pretends to be good at editing, so, sorry. But yeah, it appears that Free For All is currently without a home, looking for a new one. A whopping 2 weeks after being announced. So that's where we are as of today, September 18th, 2021. It's wild how much came to light, and how many people with questionable morals and actions could be involved in one convention. What does the future hold for this con? Who knows? It doesn't seem great, but it's possible that they will find a new spot, and the con will happen. We'll just have to wait and see. I hope I was able to cover the facts and discuss why this con was so hated, and ultimately canceled. Now, unpopular opinion, but I genuinely think the con should happen. Not because I support it. Fuck no. But because it'll be the biggest shit show since Rainforest. I mean, it already is. The shitty dominoes are all stood up, and it'd be hilarious to let them fall. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope I was able to provide an analysis of the rise and fall of free-for-all. These videos take a long time to make, and YouTube does not financially support its creators enough for the amount of time this takes. So if you'd like to directly support me, you can check out my Ko-fi page, and if you'd like to become a member, that's also down in the description. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh shit, I forgot to talk about the ball.